Hi, I'm Robert Osborne. Our next film featuring an English governess is a movie called Anna and the King of Siam. It's from 20th Century Fox in 1946. It's the first film adaptation of the 1944 book by Margaret Landon, which later was adapted by Richard Rodgers and Oscar Hammerstein into the great 1951 stage musical The King and I, which later itself was made into a lavish film. Now, it's a true story of a situation that happened in the 1860s when a widowed American woman took the job of tutoring the children of the King of Siam. Well, in this movie, it's Rex Harrison who plays the king, and this was the first film Rex had ever made in Hollywood after he'd been a star in British films for several years. Now, the English tutor is Irene Dunne. Both Rex and Irene turned out to be great in their roles, although neither was the first choice of 20th Century Fox boss Darryl F. Zanuck, who was producing the picture. Zanuck really wanted William Powell to play the king, with James Mason and Charles Boyer on the short list of other possibilities. To play Anna, Zanuck wanted Dorothy McGuire, who just made two hit pictures for Fox Studios, Claudia and A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. But Dorothy was under personal contract to producer David O. Selznick at that time, and Zanuck couldn't work out a deal to borrow Dorothy this time from Selznick. So other candidates were considered, including Claudette Colbert, but the last name on that list was Irene Dunne, with a notation next to her name by Zanuck saying he felt that Irene, who was 47 at the time, was too old for the part. But Irene eventually did get the role, and she gives one of her most memorable performances in it. The film launched Rex Harrison as an international personality, and also in the cast is Linda Darnell, a star in her own right, but doing what is in essence a supporting role, something Linda was relegated to quite often at that time. Zanuck apparently was punishing her for some reason, but that would end a year later when Linda was given what was considered the most coveted role for an actress since Scarlett O'Hara, and that was the lead in the film version of the most talked about book of the decade, Forever Amber. But here she is, years earlier, in a film directed by John Cromwell. From 1946, here's Anna and the King of Siam. Gorgeous movie. All those beautiful sets. This movie was nominated for 5 Academy Awards and won 2 of them, for its art direction and for its cinematography. Margaret Landon, who wrote the book on which the movie is based, was born in Wisconsin, but later did spend 10 years living in Siam, just before that country became Thailand in 1939. Hers was indeed a true story based on the writings and correspondence of the real Anna Leon Owens. It was 5 years after this movie came out that Rodgers and Hammerstein's 1951 musical version, The King and I, opened on Broadway, starring Gertrude Lawrence as Anna and Yul Brynner as the King. And 5 years after that, 20th Century Fox made the musicalized movie The King and I, with Yul Brynner reprising his Broadway role and Deborah Carr playing Anna, a role many actresses wanted to play, including Maureen O'Hara. That idea, however, was rejected by composer Richard Rodgers, who supposedly huffed, "I won't have some damn movie pirate queen playing Anna." It was a devastating blow to Maureen, who had a really beautiful singing voice, but never got to use it in films.